Good morning, everybody, and welcome to our very first Digital Learning Day presentation with the awesome Crystal Pullen. She is going to be talking to us today about how the virtual peer tutoring works with NCVPS. So I am going to hand this over to Crystal, and she's going to take it from here.
Thanks everyone for being with us this morning. We are going to take a tour of our Peer Tutoring Center and our various services, with our focus being on the technology that we use to make it all work, to engage our peer tutors with our students with their content. The first thing I want to talk to you about, though, before we hit the technology, is the most important part of the Peer Tutoring Center, and those are the actual peer tutors. We want you to understand that behind the technology is the staff of the Peer Tutoring Center. We have a wide variety of tutors from across the state, from a huge background with lots of content knowledge and lots of experience in online classes waiting to be shared with the students. We're going to take our tour based on the different services that we offer within the Peer Tutoring Center. And we're, of course, going to start with peer tutoring. Then we're going to move to our quick question services. We're going to talk about the technologies that are used to support the Virtual Buddy program, the live sessions. We're going to talk a little bit about our Tutor Talk blog, and then we're going to move into our coming soon programs, our Writing Center, and our English Language Learner Support programs. Now, we've had our Peer Tutoring Center here at NCVPS for about 7 years, and there has been considerable evolution in the technologies that we use for tutoring. If any of you are here with us as NCVPS instructors, you guys remember a couple of years ago just when we were using Google Calendars to manage the schedules and the hours for our tutors. This was a successful way to get the information out publicly about when our tutors were going to be available, but it was a multi-step process for our students to come in, find out who was available for tutoring them, and then move to a second program or second platform for the actual tutoring, and that was Blackboard Instant Messenger. When a student identifies that they need help, we need to get that help in their hands as quickly and easily as possible. If a student is already struggling with their content or their learning management system, they don't need more obstacles in their way. And with us taking them from one program into a secondary program, we were afraid that we were losing students along the way. So instead of our technology being an obstacle to be overcome, we wanted a more streamlined approach where everything was housed in one location. We have been very excited this year to be piloting and using a new program, a new peer tutoring platform called Upswing. The benefits to Upswing is that we have our scheduling and our tutoring platform all in one location. And we're going to begin our technology tour of peer tutoring with a tour of Upswing. Now, every single student enrolled in a course at NCVPS has an Upswing login. It's tied to their North Carolina student ID number. We have made every effort possible to make sure that as students enroll in the course, within their first week, they have access to the program. Another benefit of Upswing is that it is cross-platform compatible. Students can even access their Upswing sessions on their smartphones. And that's another benefit that we were missing when we were using Blackboard Instant Messenger as our sole platform for peer tutoring. So whether a student is using a Chromebook, a desktop computer, a laptop, or their smartphone or a tablet, they're going to be able to access Upswing within a week of having enrolled in an NCVPS course. Now, our landing page for Upswing is very easy to use, and it also includes the very helpful information at the bottom that if a student has trouble logging in, they can contact either me or Upswing support. Either one is a viable option for our students. Now, the only downside that I've seen so far to Upswing is that only our students have access to it. The general teacher population at NCVPS doesn't have access to Upswing yet, so they're not able to view which tutors are online at what time. However, we have uploaded the Tutor by Course list, which is a Google Doc updated as often as necessary that lists out all of the tutors for any given subject, along with their email address and their Blackboard IM ID. Now, we've not put Blackboard IM completely to the wayside. We're using it as a stopgap, making sure that students are transitioning over to Upswing. So that is still an option if we need it. But once students come to Upswing, they're going to log in with their student ID number and the password that's been provided to them within our secure NCVPS system. This is where things get really beautiful. Once students log into Upswing, they're greeted with this very user-friendly interface, and they're asked to go ahead and type in the subject that they need help with. They can either type in the subject, or if they've already formed a relationship with a tutor, they can type in the tutor's name. And you can see as the student starts to type in the beginnings of their course, it's going to fill in the rest of it and allow them to choose. Now, it gets even more beautiful, guys. Once a student chooses the subject that they need tutoring in, they are then led to a page that has the profiles for every tutor available for their subject. Not only is it going to have that tutor's name, but it also includes a brief About Me section and the experience that a tutor has had. Now, we've encouraged our tutors to make this a little bit personal while maintaining security. If you also look, you see the blue stars there. A tutor begins tutoring with us with 0 stars. It's only after they've had successful sessions with students that the students are able to give the tutor star ratings. And if you'll notice, the first tutors here all have 5-star ratings. That means they've had at least one extremely successful session with a student, and that's what we want to see with all of our peer tutors. Now, we do have procedures in place that if a peer tutor starts to fall below those 5 stars, we can coach that peer tutor, find out what's going on. We can even look at the student feedback given to the tutor so that we can coach on specific areas to help that tutor achieve more so that they can give better support to our students. Guys, it gets even better. If you're not excited about Upswing yet, let's take a look at what happens when we go to schedule a session. If you look where the blue arrow is pointing, you can see the 2 options, Get Tutored Now or Schedule a Session. If a tutor is online, like you can see that our tutor Brandon has that green text underneath his picture. It says he is online now. If a tutor is online at the time a student logs in, the student can simply click Get Tutored Now. And if that tutor isn't already engaged with someone else, they can immediately connect. And that's reminiscent of our quick question services in Blackboard Instant Messenger. However, we also have the option, if the tutor isn't online right now, for the student to click Schedule a Session. And the student then has a pop-up window where they're shown the daily schedule for the tutor. If you look where it says Tuesday and it has the green highlighting shows when the tutor, Brandon, is available. And we do encourage our students to schedule sessions only during those green highlighted sections. That means that the tutor has already said, I am committed to coming during these times. A student is taking a risk engaging with a tutor if they try to schedule a session outside of those scheduled hours. Now, when you see that top blue arrow is pointing to the duration and the date. The student can select from half an hour, 1 hour, or longer sessions. They then choose the date that they want tutoring, and once they choose a date, it's going to toggle the schedule feature to show the schedule of that tutor for that date. And then they're going to choose their time. Another huge benefit to Upswing is that a student can load a file and send it to the tutor prior to the tutoring session. This is especially helpful if a student is taking a course that has an in-depth assignment or specific math problems that they're going to need to work on. It gives the tutor a heads up on what's to come so they can prepare resources to help the student before the session even starts. Now, some other great features of Upswing. Once this session is scheduled, a message is sent to the tutor within Upswing, and an email is sent to the tutor within Upswing. When the tutor accepts the session and it goes on the calendar, an email is sent to the student, and a message is sent to them within Upswing. So we've got double communications happening here. We're making sure that the student is getting the information in Upswing, but it's also being sent to their personal email account as well. As the session approaches, they're going to get reminder emails. The tutor and the student will get reminder messages within Upswing and also reminder emails to their personal email account. So if we have any students online right now, once you begin accessing Upswing to engage in tutoring sessions, double check that the email address we have for you is the email address that you check on a regular basis. A lot of our accounts are being set up with dummy email addresses because we don't have the correct email address within our registration system. So anyone who is accessing Upswing needs to make sure the correct email address is in the system. Now, this is the pretty side for the students. Accessing Upswing is getting your peer tutoring services all in one place. You're able to access your course tutors, get to know your course tutors, and schedule a session all in one place. Upswing is also where the tutoring session occurs. Those final emails about the peer tutoring session within Upswing will include a link to the classroom, to the live classroom being used for the session. You will also find a link for the session on your profile page when you have a session scheduled with a tutor. So you can find that link in multiple places. Upswing provides other resources beyond a beautiful user-friendly platform for our tutoring. Another thing that was missing with the technology we used previously was the reporting features, the ability to get good, solid data. Upswing is filling in that gap for us as well. This little bit of information I'm sharing with you now is just a tiny touch of the data that we're pulling from Upswing. These are our top 5 courses that are accessing Upswing for peer tutoring right now. And just this information is telling me a lot. We're getting primarily AP classes and upper level math classes coming in for tutoring. We know that it's a struggle within lower level classes to encourage students to come for peer tutoring. A lot of times they either, number one, don't recognize the support that they can get from peer tutoring, and number two, they don't know that peer tutoring is available for their subjects, or number three, they don't think that the kind of help they need is available to them. And that's one of the things that we want to address within the Peer Tutoring Center and our marketing. So even with this little bit of information, we're getting data that's going to help us to inform decisions within the Peer Tutoring Center. Now, this gets data even better. This is one of the reporting elements that we have where we can see not only the dates and times of our sessions, we can see the duration of the session, we can see the student names who are getting tutored, and the names of the subjects that are being tutored in. Now, this is a very long report because we have many sessions scheduled within the Upswing platform. This is just one single snapshot. This information is available for download so that we can sort it by coach, by student, by subject, and even total up the duration of the sessions. Now, I want you to take a quick look before we move on to the next slide, just to highlight here what's happening within the Peer Tutoring Center. Notice the duration of these sessions. One is as short as 11 minutes, might be termed a quick question session, but some of them are more than an hour. We have a 106-minute session, an 87-minute session, 76, 61, 69, and 90. And one of the things I like to point out in all the sessions that I do about the Peer Tutoring Center is the dedication of these tutors. No one is questioning the dedication of the NCVPS teacher, but our teachers have student numbers ranging from 20 all the way up to 90. And if every one of your students needed this kind of individual support, a teacher would find it very difficult to provide that on a daily basis. Our peer tutors don't have that difficulty. They are able to provide that on a daily basis. Now, what you're not seeing, because I've hidden the students' names and the coaches' names because we don't know who is attending the session, but if you just take a look at the subjects, American history, again and again and again, we have 2 students, only 2 individual students who are using the Peer Tutoring Center as you see it on this page. Each one of those American history sessions are one of 2 students. This is taking place over a period of 3 days. So those 2 students, just 2 students, over 3 days are using the Peer Tutoring Center for American History support for 4 and 5 hours. I want you to key in on that and think again about that single American history teacher who may be the teacher of both of these students. Is that teacher going to be able to commit that amount of time over a period of 3 days for 2 students? As dedicated as our teachers are, that's asking a lot. Now, this is another view of the reporting feature within Upswing. This is looking at specific tutors, I believe. I've got it pulled up for one tutor, and I'm looking at his very brief feedback. One of the things that we're able to view within Upswing is the feedback on the tutor, the student, and on the session in general. At the end of a session, the tutor is able to input what the session was about and what they worked on and what the student still needs to work on. Kind of a strength and weakness analysis of the student. Now again, we can pull this information by or by class. Now, we're going to drill down even a little bit more. This is how we use information from the Peer Tutoring Center to drive instruction. The information you see here is for one student, a student named John getting support in American history. This is the information that our tutor, the feedback our tutor is giving about John. Now, at least once a week, one of our instructional leaders is going in and pulling this information. They're going to find out who the instructional leader is for American history, and they're going to send this information to that instructional leader to pass on to their teacher. So they're going to find out that John is receiving help on a daily basis for his American history class. They're going to see the feedback that our tutor Jeffrey has left, what John is doing well at, and the things that John still needs help on. This is going to directly affect how that teacher approaches teaching John. But more than that, they're going to be able to celebrate John in their announcements. They're going to be able to say, woohoo, John is going to the Peer Tutoring Center and getting support. Now that benefits them in celebrating John. It also benefits the Peer Tutoring Center in driving more students to us. But beyond just knowing what John is learning, if they get this kind of feedback on more than one student, they may start to identify gaps in their teaching or gaps in their course that can be addressed through their ELC and revisions to their course so that we can prevent or stop the need for the kids having to come. We can have content in the course or instruction in the course that reteaches the concept before the student needs to come for peer tutoring. So the data that we're now receiving from Upswing is going to influence how we coach our tutors. It's going to influence how we market the Peer Tutoring Center, but it's also going to drive instruction within our NCVPS course. And this is far superior to the data that we previously had. Now, for marketing purposes, I'm going to share with you a little bit of the feedback that we're getting from students, because not only are the tutors able to provide feedback within Upswing, so are our students. And these are just a couple of little blips that I pulled from the student feedback session about their experiences with their tutor. So again, at the end of each session, the tutor and the student are able to provide feedback on the session and the tutor. And so far, the feedback that we're receiving is very positive. And if we have received negative feedback on a tutor, we immediately coach that tutor on the areas that the student has brought up. This is some more detailed feedback that we have gotten from tutors on the session. And again, this is the kind of information that is being shared with the teachers of these subjects that are going to further drive the instruction within that single classroom, but also hopefully that course as a whole. Now, we're going to change gears a little bit and talk some about our quick questions. Now, we are encouraging students first to come to Upswing even for quick questions. As you guys saw, it's really easy when a student comes into Upswing to see when a tutor for their subject is online at that time. It's very easy for them to message that tutor to get a quick question answered or to engage in a schedule or online now to have those questions answered live. If a student is still waiting for an Upswing user ID or they can't find a tutor immediately, Blackboard IM is a fallback resource for them. We do understand that our students in Canvas do not have access to Blackboard IM, and that's why we're trying to drive everyone to Upswing. But for our students in Moodle and Blackboard, Quick Questions is still available in Blackboard IM. Again, I stress, this is a secondary option to Upswing. We have fewer tutors available in Blackboard IM than Upswing, so we want to drive our students to Upswing. But this is a glimpse of how Quick Questions works in Blackboard Instant Messenger. It works just like teacher office hours do, where a student can access that school tab in the Blackboard Instant Messenger, click on a room that has a peer tutor available, and they are immediately engaged with a peer tutor to get answers to their quick questions. Remember, quick questions are things about how to maneuver around a learning management system, how to get information, how assignments are submitted within the learning management system, quick technical issues that only take a few minutes to answer and that could be answered by a tutor for any subject. Moving on to our virtual buddy program. We've included a couple of graphics on this slide so you can get an idea of what the Virtual Buddy program is. The Virtual Buddy provides support beyond the content area. We know that students have more concerns and issues than just the content of a class. They struggle with time management, organization, study skills, things like that that they need to overcome before they can even consider the content. Now, our virtual buddies are going to be connecting with their students using a variety of tools. In fact, our virtual buddies are guided to find the tool that works the best for the student. That tool can be email, texting, telephone, Blackboard Instant Messenger, or Upswing. Whatever works best for the student is what the virtual buddy is going to be using. Now,
Crystal?
Yes, Don.
As you transition to the next slide, we do have a question from one of our participants. I wanted to go ahead and ask that, and so whatever you kind of in your stream of discussion or presentation, you can work that in. But one of our participants asked, what kind of questions do the students ask, and what types of things do they struggle with?
That's as broad as the courses that we offer here at NCVPS, because we do provide peer tutoring services for all of our courses. It can be math problems that they are struggling with. Maybe they need additional resources to reinforce a concept in history. We do have students who are coming in who want to practice speaking a foreign language that they're working on in their class. We have students who are coming in with essays that they want someone to proofread. They come into us again for additional resources for any of our subjects. They're also coming to us, especially in our AP classes, for review. They want feedback from someone who has experienced it from a student perspective, someone who has sat for that exam and done well. They want to know what it's like, how they can further prepare, and examples of what they experienced. So it's difficult for me to tell you what kind of questions they come to us with for peer tutoring, because it's as broad as any concept that would be offered in any of our classes. For quick questions, they're asking questions about the learning management system, how to make their technology work, how to contact their instructor, things like how to make their gizmos work in their science classes. Those are the kinds of questions that we get about quick questions. I hope that answers your question sufficiently. Now, back to our virtual buddy program. The technology used by our virtual buddies in communication, again, are the email, text, telephone, Blackboard Instant Messenger, or Upswing, whatever works for the student. We're using our virtual support center, our help desk, to receive those requests from our teachers. Because of the secure nature of the information provided, where the teacher is sending us student contact information, we wanted to make sure that was through a secure system, so we are using our virtual support center, our help desk, for the teacher to submit those requests to me to assign a virtual buddy. Our live sessions are sessions that are provided beyond one-on-one. These are group sessions that can be instigated either at the request of a peer tutor who has noticed trends in what they're tutoring on, or at the request of an NCVPS teacher who knows that their students need reinforcement in certain areas. One of our favorite concepts to have our live sessions on are the AP reviews, and we have had very successful sessions on AP reviews from many courses. How this works is either the tutor notices the trends and requests to host a session, or the teacher comes and says, I'd like to have a tutor do a session. The peer tutor provides all of the resources. They make all of the resources for the session. They are completely in charge. A date is selected, a graphic is created, and then that live session is promoted to all of the students for that course. This is one of the ways that the Peer Tutoring Center is going out to the students rather than waiting for the students to come to them. Some of our sessions have been so successful that they've become a permanent part of the NCVPS course, where teachers are requiring the students to view the session for credit. And that is the goal for any of our sessions, that they be such superior sessions that they become an integral part of the course. Tutor Talk is another one of the ways that students before they come to us. It is our blog, and it is done on Blogspot. And let's see if I can quickly grab the URL for that. And we would love for you guys to stop by, whether you are a student, a teacher, or school support person. Our blog has something for everyone. It began as a blog by our tutors for online students, but we quickly realized that the articles being published had a much broader audience than just our online students. They are appropriate for all students, face-to-face or online, and many of the articles are relevant to our teachers as well. So since these are student written articles from our tutors, guys, we'd really appreciate if you'd read one or two articles and leave them feedback. You all know how you're motivated when you get feedback on things that are of effort to you. So we encourage you to stop by. This is another way that we just try to engage our tutors in things that they do well, things where they express an initiative and they want to share with others. So we're giving them a platform to talk. Here are some of the sample topics that we've posted recently from our tutors. Have no fear, time management is here. And while the article is focused to our students, I know for a fact that all of our teachers could also benefit with a refresher in time management. Keeping college in mind, studying advice from a student, and then tips to manage stress in high school. Now guys, this says tips to manage stress in high school. Some of the tips included there are relevant to all of us in all areas of our lives. We do have a Facebook page, and I'm going to pop that URL in here for you as well. We're not as active on our Facebook page as we would eventually like to be, but you can get information about the Peer Tutoring Center there. And I have had many parents to contact us with questions about the Peer Tutoring Center through our Facebook page. So this is a very relevant effort for us, because not only are we reaching our teachers and our students within our system, we can reach others outside of NCVPS through social media, for especially parents who don't have access to the resources inside of our learning management system. Now, coming soon, within the next few weeks, we will be debuting our Writing Center and a support program for our English language learners. Upswing, our platform for peer tutoring, has recently purchased another company whose primary purpose was online writing support. What I've seen so far from this new company that's been purchased, it's amazing. If you can think of a word processing program with track changes, how Google Docs has a history, and then the beautiful platform of Upswing all rolled into one. With this new platform, when a student submits a work of writing to a peer tutor for support, all of the changes are going to be tracked. They're going to be able to have synchronous and asynchronous sessions discussing their writing, and all of the changes are tracked there, along with the amount of time that the student and tutor are spending on those documents. They'll be available for upload, download, and then re-uploading again as the student and the peer tutor work together on the documents. With our English language learner program, we are looking to support not only the student with support, but understanding that their parents are going to need support too, because they are new to our online environment, and to many of them new to high school or middle school as well. So we want to support them. The primary mode of information distribution here again is going to be through Upswing. One of the courses that a student will be able to select is the English Language Learner Support Program, and there they will be greeted by all of the profiles for students who are available to help them with their English language, providing content support at their level. And these are upcoming resources. This is just a little feedback that I want to share with you. General information about the Peer Tutoring Center is a testimonial from Michelle Barnhill, a credit recovery teacher. Back in the summer of 2012, she had a student named John who was struggling with credit recovery geometry. Michelle provided support to him along with another credit recovery geometry teacher. So this student, John, was having sessions a couple of times a day over a period of several weeks with 2 NCVPS instructors, and he was still struggling. So Michelle recommended that he contact the peer tutors for support, and he did. And that made all the difference in John passing his class and getting credit. So even at the point where he was working with 2 NCVPS teachers, something was still missing, and our peer tutors were able to provide the something that was missing. Again, I want to stress to you that even with 2 teachers working with him, John still comes to the Peer Tutoring Center because the Peer Tutoring Center can provide hours of support, even beyond what our peer tutors, what our teachers are able to provide. Now, we've talked about obviously all the benefits to our students. I want to take just a brief moment in case we have students or parents or school support or even our teachers about the benefits the Peer Tutoring Center has to our tutors. It is a voluntary program for our tutors, but we do provide some benefits to them. We submit their volunteer hours to the Presidential Volunteer Service Award on a yearly basis so that they can get that recognition. We verify their hours for any school level clubs that they're interested in participating in and for graduation requirements that their schools may have. They receive a certificate from June Atkinson in appreciation of their volunteering. We select a Tutor of the Month and recognize tutors who have gone above and beyond. We also provide recommendation letters for colleges and scholarships, and I have provided more than one referral for a job. They're also learning and practicing skills beyond just their content. They get the refresher of their content, but the communication skills that they're learning here are absolutely priceless and unique to our program. I'm going to leave you guys with a video. I'm going to have to pull the link while you guys are asking questions, but it's going to talk to you a little bit about what peer tutoring is about from the peer tutor's point of view. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment and share that link out with you. If you have questions after our presentation, here's the contact information for our instructional leaders. So if you want to jot those down, those are available to you anytime you have questions about the Peer Tutoring Center. But for now, I'd like to take any questions that you have.
And feel free to, as you're thinking about questions, to ask Crystal to pose. There's a Q&A over in the sidebar to the left. You can certainly ask questions, and they will filter in here, and then I can ask them to Crystal.
It really is important to tutor people like in depth.
And Crystal, I'm not seeing none, and so I want to thank you so much for your presentation and all the work that you and your team is doing for the students of North Carolina. Our Peer Tutoring Center is phenomenal, nationally recognized, and I appreciate just the level of professionalism and support that you have provided for this. Oh, but we do have a question just came in. She says, how open are the students to receiving a virtual buddy, and does it require a warm-up time?
Last semester we placed somewhere over 60 students with virtual buddies, and I would estimate that half of those virtual buddies were initiated by the student, where the student recognized they needed support, saw the promotional material for the virtual buddy program, and contacted their teacher and asked for one. I would say I've seen only a handful of students who have not been fully engaged in the program, who only accepted the virtual buddy at the behest of the teacher. I think that once the virtual buddy begins to make contact with that student and the student sees the benefits, they quickly overcome that hesitancy to use the program. Now, I can't say that every single virtual buddy pairing we've made has been 100% successful. Not all students make it to the end of the semester or to the end of their year-long course with their virtual buddy, but every effort is made to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel at home and connected to their virtual buddy, so that they do feel like it is a beneficial program.
Thank you so much, Crystal. And we are up on time, and I hope that everyone who was able to participate enjoyed getting a real deep dive sneak peek, if you would, into our peer tutoring center and all the great things that they are providing for our students. And so if, with that said, I do invite you to our next live session, having students using Remind in their classrooms, and so I hope you will be able to attend that starting here at 9:15. Again, Crystal, I appreciate it so much. Thank you for the work that you are doing and your team, and we hope that everybody has a wonderful day.
Thanks, Don. While you guys are waiting for the next session to start, I've posted the link to that video I wanted you to see. It's about 3 minutes, so perfect timing to get you ready for the next session.